Hey everyone, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're tackling something pretty awesome, the absolute ultimate cost-saving roadmap to mastering local artificial intelligence. If you've been itching to run powerful AI right on your own machine, but you feel completely overwhelmed by where to even start, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to build your knowledge from the ground up, following a highly structured step-by-step guide. It's designed to take you from absolute zero to advanced, practical usage, all without emptying your wallet. All right, let's just dive right into this. You've probably asked yourself, do I need to rush out and buy a brand new GPU? Or do I instantly need like 128 gigabytes of RAM just to get my foot in the door? This is literally the very first thing we have to address today because there is a massive misconception out there. The biggest trap beginners fall into is thinking they've got to buy all this massive, expensive hardware before they even download a single AI model. To get us on the right path, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at that huge mistake people make at the start. Second, defining your needs with a 5-question compass. Third, we'll cover model and data sizes. Fourth, we'll walk through a super practical beginner's roadmap. And finally, we'll talk about when you actually need to upgrade your hardware. Okay, part 1, the biggest mistake at the start. So, here's the trap, and it's a big one. It is absolutely crucial to realize that the reality of local AI begins with software optimization and figuring out what you actually need, not a crazy expensive shopping trip to the electronics store. The reality is, most people just start completely backwards. They fall right into the trap of buying brand new hardware, whether that's a whole new PC or some high-end graphics card, way prematurely. Think about it. If you haven't even downloaded a model yet, you're spending money without actually knowing what your system is going to be doing. It's basically a blind investment. Moving right along to section 2, define your needs with 5 questions. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we actually avoid that trap. We've got to flip the script. Instead of buying first, you need to define your needs first. And we do that by walking through 5 simple, foundational questions. Question 1 is just, what do I actually want to do? You really need to categorize yourself here. Are you looking for a personal assistant for everyday writing, summarizing, and translating? Are you a professional deep in the weeds of PDFs, Excel sheets, and contracts? Maybe you're a programmer who needs help coding and debugging, or a researcher poring over massive books, or even a media creator looking to generate images and video. Believe it or not, this single decision right here is going to dictate like 80% of your future choices. Okay, question 2. Is my data sensitive? This is a huge contrast, because if your data is not sensitive, honestly, you can perfectly well utilize standard cloud services right alongside your local tools. But if your data is highly sensitive, like we're talking company financials or private client data, that is exactly where true local AI becomes fundamentally required. The ultimate goal here is to keep all your files safely locked inside your own machine, completely private and offline. Question 3 is all about your documents. What's the sheer volume of the stuff you're working with? Are you analyzing a standard 20-page PDF? Or are you parsing through a super dense 2,000-page engineering spec? The volume of your documents directly impacts your system requirements, specifically the memory you're going to need, the size of the model, and the context length. And interestingly enough, it's actually not just about raw generation speed. The more information you try to feed into the AI, the more memory and context handling your machine demands. Which brings us to section 3, required model and data sizes. So for question 4, we're looking at required model sizes. And guys, downloading the absolute largest model available right out of the gate is a critical error. You've really got to start with what your current machine can handle easily. To break it down by parameters, 8 to 14 billion parameter models are fantastic for daily general tasks. 20 to 35 billion parameters, that's your sweet spot for most professional document-heavy work. And those 70 billion plus parameter models, yeah, those are reserved for deep analysis and advanced reasoning. And the 5th, final question is whether you're going to use a custom knowledge base. If you plan to feed your AI highly specialized engineering codes, company procedures, massive textbooks, or heavy research, you're going to need RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Honestly, building a custom knowledge base through RAG is exactly the thing that separates the advanced power users from total beginners. It completely unlocks the true specialized power of local AI. All right, section 4, a practical roadmap for beginners. This brilliantly illustrates your chronological zero-risk path to getting this right. It's broken down into 4 distinct stages, spread over roughly a 1-month timeline. Stage 1 is learn. Stage 2 is understand models. Stage 3 is build a knowledge library. And finally, stage 4, way down the line, is hardware optimization. Let's zoom in on the specifics of stage 1. This should take you just your first 1 to 3 days. Your whole goal here is just to learn the basics. You install a program, something like LM Studio, you download one model, just one, then you simply start asking it questions. Use this time to learn the ropes, figure out how loading models works, how memory management functions, and how to tweak your contacts and generation settings. But the absolute golden rule for these first few days, do not switch to any other program yet. Stick to one until you really get it. After those first few days, you're ready for stage 2, understanding models. This spans about a week, and it's basically experiment time. This is where you actively test a small model, then a medium one, then a large one. Compare them side by side. You want to look really closely at their accuracy, their speed, and exactly how much memory they're chewing up on your specific machine. You've got to learn how to actively evaluate these results yourself so you truly understand the trade-offs your hardware is making. Then we reach stage 3, building your knowledge library, taking roughly 1 to 2 weeks. This is where the magic really happens. You gather up all your PDFs, Word docs, manuals, and specific standards. Then, by using dedicated tools like Anything LLM or Open Web UI, you literally inject these documents directly into your system. This completely transforms your setup from a basic run-of-the-mill chatbot into a highly specialized local assistant tailored explicitly to your own work. It's a real game changer. Let's move to section 5 and see how this all builds up. When to upgrade your hardware. So remember stage 4, hardware optimization? If you start there, you're making a massive mistake. When you place it correctly, it only happens after a full month of real hands-on use. After 4 solid weeks of discovering your actual system limits, you can finally ask yourself informed questions. Do you actually need more memory? Do you really need a dedicated GPU? Or, and honestly, this is super common, is your current machine actually totally fine for what you categorized yourself as back in step 1? Here's the final contrast when it comes to hardware advice. If you've never used local AI before, the rule is ridiculously simple. Buy nothing. Start with exactly the machine you have sitting on your desk right now and discover your limits. On the flip side, if you're a professional who already knows you'll be crunching thousands of pages of documents, your priority shifts. You've got to prioritize systems with massive memory, lots and lots of RAM, long before you even think about buying huge, flashy graphics cards. Okay, to make absolutely sure you avoid wasting your time and your cash, let's do a quick recap of the top 3 mistakes. Number 1, buying hardware before you actually know your use case. Number 2, focusing way too heavily on token counts rather than practical application. And number 3, downloading dozens of different models on the very first day, which just creates total confusion. It really all boils down to this one simple, brilliant philosophy for getting the fastest learning at the lowest possible cost. I call it the rule of 1. 1 goal, 1 model, 1 program, 1 document set. If you adhere to that, you only ever even think about upgrading your hardware when you hit the actual, literal limits of your current system. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you know you should start by discovering the true limits of the machine you already own right now, what is the first single model you're going to download today? Get in there, start experimenting, and take that first truly focused step into local AI without spending a single dime. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and have an awesome time exploring.